They say life slows down after 40. They say after 40, it's all downhill.
We say it's just the beginning.
Welcome to What She's Having, the podcast that proves getting older is the ultimate glow up.
We are your hosts, Jennifer Cataldo and Brittany Semler, two best friends, moms, business owners, and professional fun havers, living proof that the second half is the better half.
Yes, you can be over 40 and still over the top fabulous, thriving, stylish, and a little bit wild.
Think luxury travel, wellness that actually works. Beauty tips we don't gatekeep, mixed with a little mischief, because aging gracefully is expected, but aging boldly, even better.
We're spilling our favorite beauty hacks, wellness secrets, travel obsessions, and why Botox and belly laughs are equally essential. So come for the fashion, stay for the friendship, and trust us, you're going to want what she's having.
You know us. We're here for the runway, the romance, and just a hint of drama. And when it's Paris Fashion Week, we go all in. It's not just fashion, it's a full spectacle.
From front row fits to croissant-filled chaos and couture that is so extra it needs its own seat. The heels are high, the fashion is forward, and the after parties blur into brunch.
Paris Fashion Week isn't just an event, it's an experience. Because today, we'll have what she's wearing. We're so happy to have you back with us. Today, we're going to speak about probably my favorite topic, fashion.
More specifically, Fashion Week. Jinx.
So I remember when you and I became fast friends and our common love language is fashion. And you said to me, we should really try to get to New York Fashion Week. And I was like, ooh, what does that take? And you were like, oh, I went to the Zimmerman show one time. It was so fun. And I was like, I would love to go to a Chanel show. That would be a dream. Cut to this year, I went to 5 shows in Paris, and you and I went to 2 shows together. And this is our second year going to Fashion Week together. And this is my 3rd year going. So let's kind of break down that process. Let's talk about fashion in terms of how you and I both view it. For me, fashion was always so important to me. I know I spoke in a few episodes that I would go to the skating rink with my sister and I would walk by this women's store upstairs in Topanga Plaza and they had these beautiful women's clothes. And I would say to myself, I'm going to have that when I'm older. I'm going to have that outfit when I'm older. And I've always loved fashion. It just like fills my soul. It makes me giggly and happy. And it's like a princess wearing a princess dress. So that's sort of been my relationship with fashion. And my first designer bag that I ever purchased was in the 8th grade. It's Saks Fifth Avenue in the Promenade Mall in Woodland Hills. Do you remember that mall?
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I do remember
Yes.
Saks there.
So not only did I love that Saks, but I used to pretend it was my house because they had this beautiful spiral staircase. And I would walk down and just like pretend it was my house and like, what would it actually feel like to live in a beautiful mansion? Like that would just be, so amazing. I just really love all that stuff. So I convinced my mom to use her hard-earned money to buy me my first Gucci bag. And it was the brown, classic print with the G's, and it would look like a candy. Do you remember that? Where it was kind of pinched on both sides. So it kind of looked like, how a candy twist?
Oh, yes.
It was kind of like that with a long thing, and you could wear it crossbody. And I had that bag forever. I loved it so much. And when I was a little girl, my sister used to make fun of me. I'd get a new pair of shoes and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd run to my closet to make sure that they were still there. This is how much I love fashion. And it just made me feel so good when I had something new. Did you have the same experience?
I always loved it from a very early age. My mother was an incredible dresser, so I followed suit. We didn't have the money. So my first bag was a Gucci too. And it was red, blue, and the tan canvas. And it was the tiny little pochette type one with the little thing. And I was in college. And I remember that with my black Gucci sunglasses that were the thin square that are pretty much probably on point again, the same type of shape. But for me, it really I loved dressing when I was young. I loved shopping. That was like where I went. I was always at the mall, always, you know, putting stuff together. But I think that as I got older and I entered into my professional career, I had like a true found love at an early age when I was at the Argyle Four, because we had clients that would come in with like amazing things. And I found my love for Chanel, and I began collecting like really interesting, the Menadier, very little bags. And it, to this day, I still have or jackets that are 20 years old, and they're just still relevant. They never outdate. The quality's incredible, and that's what I love. I love just how beautifully they're made. They're truly like a piece of art for me. It's you look at it and you look at how they're made, and they're made by hand, and the ones that go down the runway, the couture, really are made by hand, and you fall in love with the art of it. And for me, it's like a game now for dressing, and it's like a game for getting. It's like an adrenaline high. I had a funny story the other night where Devin told me to come straight home, and I couldn't. I made one stop, and he's like, seriously, come straight home. And when he heard where I was, he was so mad. And I said, well, they got in my loafers that have been sold out, and I'm going to buy these. And he's like, how many do you need? I'm like, no, I'm getting them. And it's like, it's the, not the kill, it's
The art of the
the
hunt.
art of the hunt. It's
Yeah.
like, for men, they love to go out hunting or this. For me, it's like, I just want it. And when I get it, it's that adrenaline rush. And that for me is exciting and invigorating.
When you get that, are you satisfied? Or are you on to the next?
I think when I was younger, I was satisfied for a long time, and now I'm on to the next. You?
Yes, I'm on to the next. But the thing is, I'm trying to work on it. That's sort of been like my New Year's resolution, where not only do I want to wear everything I buy, because I used to just sort of like hold them for
Special
special
moments.
occasions.
Yes.
And I'm glad there's certain things that I'm really happy that I did, but I also I want to wear what I have, because then I realize like I really don't need much more.
Yes.
But everything is so special, and
That's like a two-part episode for you and I, and we talk a lot about this, is like this addiction to it. It's like the addiction for the fashion, the addiction for the purchase, and the addiction for more.
right.
It just keeps getting better.
Yes, there is that addiction, but there's another part of the shopping, and I think that we shop at a level that is like kind of ridiculous, like so crazy that most people don't get to experience with is these major fashion houses, which is such a privilege. But it's just not the clothes, or not just getting things that are hard to get. It's also the relationships that we have with our SAs, our sales associates, with the management, with the store, how we feel when we get into the store, how they make us feel, the events we're invited to. It really makes you such a brand loyalist, and just you want more. You just want to be invited to more things and be
Yes.
part of it, because it's actually so amazing.
It really is. And to your point, the events and stuff, we'll talk a lot about that. Like, the people are so kind and so much fun. And even the management in the store to executives that work for these brands, they're just kind people like you and I, that they're just kind, generous, fun to be with, really down to earth, fun people. I mean, there is, a part of it, an element that's like, wowzers.
Well, each store has like their own client relations person, so that's all they want, is to have better relationships with the clients, and they do events to make that special, so you keep on coming back more and more. Well, so you and I talked about this dream of going to New York. Cut to 4 years ago, we both got invited to a Louis Vuitton runway show for ready to wear, right? So ready to wear is something that it goes down the runway, and then you'll see it in the stores. So most of everything that goes down a runway in a ready-to-wear show will be available for purchase off of the racks at the stores in about 6 months. So you get to see it first. And a haute couture show is very different. It's handmade. It's made to measure. It's the most incredible.
It's art.
It's art, highest
art.
quality.
Yes.
So when you see a runway show that it's like, something that you're like, how can anybody wear this? If it's haute couture, they really aren't wearing it. It's just for the dramatic and the art of the show.
Of the designer, because he's creating his masterpieces for his audience, and it's a small group audience that sees these masterpieces walking down a runway there.
The creative director it's their vision, and each creative director for each brand has their own style and their own vision.
Mm-hmm.
So we got invited, so excited, to a Louis Vuitton women's ready-to-wear show that was happening in La Jolla. And it was very rare because normally it's in Paris. And this creative director, he had different shows all around the world, and he picked this one location for the setting and the lighting and the sunset.
It was like the heavens opened up and gave him the perfect evening, because the lighting was, it's like it's unmatched. There's nowhere in the world that you could have everything come together like that. Yes. It was truly spectacular.
And it was our first runway show. And I'll never forget.
We didn't even sit near each other.
We didn't. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was just like, let me in. I don't care. We pulled up and we got our invitation. And I need to say this, like, it's very important for our listeners to understand about you and about me, but I'm only going to speak from my perspective, that this is a little girl's dream. This is my little girl's dream, right? I could never imagine my 12-year-old self saying, you're going to be going to Fashion Week. One year you're going to 5 shows. Like, I could never imagine that to be the case. This will never get old for me. I'm giggling the entire time. I'm giggling at the first show that we were at. I'm giggling at the last show. I couldn't sleep the entire time. I was just so grateful and excited and just like living a dream that I couldn't even dare to dream when I was a younger girl. So I'm just very appreciative of these experiences. But we pulled up and we got into like a shuttle, and they gave us our invitation, and it was in a leather. I have these pictures, and it was in a leather Louis Vuitton folder, that you could put your passport
like a passport
in.
holder.
Yeah, like a passport, like an envelope made of leather. Mm-hmm. And I opened it, and I was taking pictures, and I was reading the invitation, and it had our seat. And I said to you, I'm like, Brittany, I never want to forget this moment.
Yes, we were.
Remember? I was just
it was so exciting.
It was like a dream that we got to experience this. And then we weren't sitting together. And I was like, bye, girl. I went to my seat. I was so excited. And the show, the sun set to the perfect, magic hour. Mm-hmm. The music started, and the models walked down the runway, and my heart dropped. Did you have the same feeling?
Oh, it was amazing. That though, with everything, like we said, came together. It was like, it was breathtaking.
It's the visual, it's the sound, because the way Louis Vuitton does their show, the music is part. I mean, it is part of every show, but in particular, Louis Vuitton, it was part of that. And then just the art that walked down the runway. And that show had skateboards and just the coolest stuff.
Yes.
Unusual things. That was special.
And then cut to, we go to like the after party.
Yeah. And that's a whole other aspect of Fashion Week that people don't see. It's not just the shows. It's the before the show, what happens, like the relationships, and then it's the after show parties or the lunches or the dinners. And that's all part of this amazing
experience. What I remember
experience.
from that after party that was so fun was people were getting cold because it was chilly on the water, and they started passing around Louis Vuitton scarves. And we weren't cold because we had full pantsuits on. Yeah. And we're like, no, we're cold. Yeah, we're cold. We're cold. Give us these. Yeah. And we wrapped the Louis Vuitton scarves, and we were like, oh my God, we get to take these home. Oh my God. So it was like such a beautiful gift that they gave us
So generous.
Yes,
So
it was
generous.
magical, a magic moment.
Yes. So that was great. And then we sort of got on the thing like, okay, well, we want more of this. How do we get more? And I've had my relationship with my SA, my sales associate from Louis Vuitton for 11 or probably 12 years now. I met him originally at Louis Vuitton, and he's just this cute little blonde kid. And I wanted like 3 pairs of shoes. And at the time, this is 12 years ago, I couldn't afford to get all 3 shoes at the same time. So I was like, just charge me for one. And then like in 2 weeks, I'm going to pay for this one. And then like 2 more weeks later, I'll pay for this one. So that's kind of how our relationship started. And he was down for the game, whatever it took to get me what I needed. And I just became very loyal to him. Cut to him leaving, and he went to Hermes. And he became my Hermes salesperson. And then he sold me his first Birkin that he'd ever sold. And it was my first Birkin that I had ever purchased. So we had this like amazing first experiences together. And so I stayed with him for 9 years at Hermes. And then he went back to Louis Vuitton, and I followed him there. And then I really fell in love with the brand. And that's how this whole relationship started. When we went to the show, you and I sort of created you had your own salesperson, I had my sales associate.
Which coincidentally, they were good, like they're good friends.
Yes.
So it made it very easy, because if you look at the gentleman that Jen works with, he really matches your personality. And then if you look at the gentleman I work with,
Yes.
he really matches my personality.
Well, and so what would you say that would be?
You're much more like buttoned up and like, yes, you'll go down the list and find, let's sit through the order and make sure we got everything. And Chris is the same way.
Yes.
And then Ryan is like me. He's just like, let's do it. And let's have a cocktail while doing it. And then we get it in, and then we're like, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, we didn't do this.
Yeah.
But it's great because we get everything done that we need to. It's just in a more playful, funny way.
Yes, true. They both are reflections of kind of who we are and how
100%.
our minds work. So that was amazing, that Louis Vuitton show. And then I really understood. So every house is different, right? So Louis Vuitton, I know that you get submitted, that you have to get approved by corporate to be invited to these shows. They send pictures of you. They see your purchase history. They ask people about you. So it's not just your sales associate. It's a collaborative effort in the store because you are representing that store. And so it's very important for them to make sure that they have the right people there. So we had our eyes on Paris. I remember I was at a furniture show, and Chris called me, and he's like, you have been selected to go to Paris. And I was like sweating. I was so excited. I wanted to jump up and down, but I was in, K-Biz in Las Vegas in the convention center. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I remember calling him like, we're going to Paris. And again, the most special thing about these shows is not just the show, it's the experiences. And we had the magical dinner.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It was something out of a storybook.
They took over a castle.
It was a castle.
That turned into a hotel.
But the main dining area where they hosted this dinner was modernized. Like they put on those glass doors, and they decorated the entire front in candelabra candles on the ground, tiered. And it was... you can't even describe it. You can't, even pictures couldn't show how beautiful the evening was. They had a violinist. They had the elegant table setting. Everyone was dressed so beautifully because it was a more elevated.
Right.
It was stunning. The grounds were stunning. Then they took us into the library after, where they had like some of the clothing and some of the maison stuff in the home. It was
so they had the dinner inside the Abbey, right? So we walked in. So it's like 1,000-year-old Abbey that they've converted into a dining area for the resort now, which used to be a castle. And it was like walking into Harry Potter, like walking into Hogwarts. It with the candles and the violin playing and then the opera singer playing.
Yes,
and
yes.
That's just something that just you just become such a brand loyalist when you have that. And every time you think, okay, I've had enough Louis Vuitton, they just bring you back in and you fall in love with the
Yes.
brand again.
I mean, that dinner was something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish I could relive that once a month, just to that feeling.
And just, I remember the napkins were like hand embroidered with lace on them. And it's just that it's a very tactile experience. Louis Vuitton does it right. They
Even where
really
they
know.
place you, they look at who they're going to seat you next to for your dinner engagements to see if you match with that person and their personality. So you enjoy your evening of conversation. Like this year, they blew it out of the water.
Oh yeah, this year's next level. This year was amazing
But
for me.
it really is like it's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art for them, and they do it so right. LVMHs, I
Yeah.
mean, they are incredible.
And the show that last year was the 10-year anniversary of the creative director, and that show was
And
huge.
the music.
The music was incredible, and the show was huge, and we sat front row.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so last year Chanel was a last minute thing. I was already going to the show, and I have great relationships with my Chanel people. They're amazing. And I was invited to a high jewelry event in Paris that they were having in conjunction with the show. And I went to it. It was phenomenal. And I happened to mention, if you guys have an extra seat, like I'm here, I would love to go. And I just brought an outfit just in case. And they told me they got me a seat. So when I was there last year, I was like jumping up and down. I only got one ticket. I couldn't bring anybody. And I went, and I was probably in the third row. I didn't care. I could have been like in the bleachers. It didn't matter to me. I was so excited. And then this year they put us in the front row. And so I was like, oh my God, I found my life's calling. It's Fashion Week.
I'm going to Fashion Week
in Paris. I love it so much. I didn't sleep the entire time. I was down for anything. I got a call 4 days before. I was already scheduled to go to 3 shows. And they were like, we have a ticket for you for Dior. And I was like, wait, what?
And just so you know, I would have been a hard no. Like I would have been like, I can't. This is like,
Oh, not me.
no, not Jen.
I was like, okay,
She's
wait,
like,
when is it? And they're like, oh, it's 3 days before I was scheduled to go. So I was like,
she's like, nope, not missing
bye,
it.
babe.
Not having
I'm
it.
out. See ya. I'll see you in Paris. I had no friends. I didn't know what I was going to do there, but I was going. It didn't matter. Come hell or high water, I was not missing this amazing opportunity. I do want to say, I'd like to add one thing, if I can just add to it. When I got invited last minute to Dior, I was so excited because it's a whole team. It's a whole situation. And there's a new store director, and she said, I submitted 3 people. They said no to the first 2, and they said yes to you. And she said, we all were pushing for you. So it's the store. It's the whole store. It's how you act towards people. It's the relationships are so important. And honestly, I was happy with one show. I was happy. I wasn't trying to do this with every show. It just kind of happened naturally. And I think they really see clearly when people are in it to get something. I love the brands. I love my essays. I love going into the stores. I love my relationships with these people. And this was just like such a gift that they gave me unexpectedly. So this year I went and I got to Paris for Dior. That was my first show. And I knew for 3 days I wouldn't know anybody. And I didn't care. I was like, I'm doing this for my country. I'm making this happen. This is going to happen. So I get to the airport and I see this girl and I'm like, she's going to the show. I could tell by what she was wearing. And we ended up being in the same car together, getting driven to the airport, to the airplane. And we started talking and she was so great. And she actually was a New York client, but she was flying out of LA to go to Paris. And we became friends. And it turns out that at Dior, everybody stays at this same hotel. So I go into my room and it's this beautiful suite with like such Dior flowers waiting for me, a beautiful gift, handwritten note, like beautiful cookies. Like it was, I just felt like the church choir was singing when I opened that door. I felt so pampered. I love Dior. I love Christian Dior. I'm obsessed with him after we watched the new look. I love Christian. I love Christian. And I have such a respect
he's magic.
for the brand. So that was just like an amazing way to start. And they offered to do my hair and makeup as well, which I thought was so generous, right? So here, I'm just so grateful to be part of this. I go to the show and I'm like, I love my outfits. Like, I'm so excited. So you buy your outfits before. You buy your outfits, you show your SA, the manager, they all get sent to corporate, all of the outfits that you're wearing.
Which is like a whole big deal in itself.
Yes. They're all pre-approved. And I buy them myself. No one's giving me anything for free. And this is sort of like a thank you for being, a client. It's like the pinnacle thank you. And it's so well appreciated. So I go to the show the first day and it was amazing. And then the next day, after you go to these fashion shows, you go to something called the re-see. So you're re-seeing the clothes that walked the runway.
The way they set this up is special in itself. So the re-see is usually done somewhere spectacular. And they set these up. And it's also like a filmable moment. It's like you see everything that it came down the runway. But when it goes down the runway, you're usually like, oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. Because it is so avant-garde. It's like that piece of art.
Right.
But when you see it there up close, it's mind-blowing. It's breathtaking. It's like seeing a canvas up close. So you really get an insight to what that piece of clothing is, what that handbag is,
Right.
and
You
how
can
special
touch
they
it.
are.
You could just see like the scale of it. Now, some pieces never get into production. Now, there's been times where I've ordered something in a re-see and then they decide not to make it, which is great because it's like one less thing I have to buy. But a lot of times they do go. And the great part about not only going to the show and the way they treat you and all of that, but if you ever see a collaboration or if you ever see a line that comes out that's launched and there's like certain pieces that you're never going to be able to buy, the client that gets to go to the re-see, they get first dibs at ordering those pieces. So that's also something really cool when you go to a show. And the coolest thing about the Hermes re-see, which was the next day, is they let you try on clothes. I've never, ever seen that before. They really let you touch them, feel them, try them on to see how they fit so you can understand where your order is going to be, what size you want.
And for Hermes to be able to see all those bags, which is like a dream for women in general, for the re-see, like the bags that go down the runway, because most people don't ever get to see those in person. They, when you go into an Hermes store, it's like they'll have them in the display window, which are for display only, but you don't get to see the ones that actually make it down the runway. You'll never see these in the stores, most of them. So that's,
and you can't touch them.
Yes.
But you can at the re-see, and it was really spectacular. It was something so special. And then the next day they took us to the atelier where they make the clothes, so where they design the clothes. So we got a tour of the factory, understanding like how it works, how they've, they do like apply computers to now like the hand stuff that they do. It was incredible. I saw so many like archival pieces that they had in the back that we really weren't able to take pictures of, but it was really special to see.
Which for Hermes, again, because so much of their stuff is handmade, and that's the beauty in their product. Like that's why it's so incredible for you to be able to see that, and that where they are done is amazing because their story in general is like no other brand.
Right.
And Hermes only does 2 seasons.
And they don't have a haute couture, so it is ready to wear. But I'm not saying I'm predicting this. I'm just saying that I kind of feel like maybe I heard something that there could be an haute couture Hermes situation happening soon. So if it happens, that's going to be incredible.
Well, the world is ready for it.
So cut to Brittany finally arrives in Paris, and we are ready to rock Paris Fashion Week.
It happened fast. I landed and we had dinner that night. Yeah, that was at that museum in the middle of town, that amazing,
Right.
which was a home, which they
Right.
turned into a museum. And then each room was decorated differently, the decor on the table to match that room. And the entertainment they had that evening was to match what the family used as their entertainment in the house when it was actually a home, a
Right.
family home.
So we're
So it was a
talking,
very special evening again.
right.
Like,
So we're talking about Louis Vuitton. This is what they do. This is what they do so well.
so well.
Their dinners the night before the shows are just next level and so memorable. So last year we did that incredible dinner in the Abbey at that chateau that's turned into a hotel outside of Paris. I never thought that they could top that. And then this year it's at a museum that had just reopened.
And no one knew where it was. So they
Right.
put us on shuttles, and it was in the middle of the city, but it was this random like home built on this incredible property in the middle of like all these buildings.
Yes. And I'm a designer, so I was geeking out over just the architecture,
The
the
marble,
mixed materials, the marble, the millwork, the art. It was something like it was a Bridgerton moment. It really was something so
it
spectacular.
really was.
So, and it's also so fun because we get to choose all of our outfits. So we pick our outfits before.
And we don't share with each other.
We don't share. We kind of surprise you. Like we kind of, I love to surprise you. I love to like pop in and then see what you're wearing.
Just so you know, we don't do that on trips either. We don't tell. It's a surprise moment.
Right. We never say, what are you packing? What are you wearing? Never. We'll just be like, okay, we're wearing a dress or
Yes.
pants, but we never say what it is because I think like we just appreciate
Fun.
Yeah,
we
we appreciate
the
that.
fashion moment. of,
Yes.
oh my God, what are you going to have
Yes.
on?
Like sometimes people say, fashion is for girls. Like men don't care about that stuff.
No, they
Women
really
like
don't.
love it.
Well, your husband does.
My husband, let's talk about him for a moment. So my husband, John, he has, an alter ego, and his alter ego's name is Joanna. And how this came about is
And Joanna can shop like
Yes.
nobody's business. And Joanna can dress because Joanna has a great body for a male. Like,
Yes.
he is tall and thin, so he can wear clothing very well.
Listen, when I first met my husband, I went to his house and it was remodeled. It was designed so beautifully. It was like a Zen modern. And I said to my friend Sandra, listen, he's either gay or I'm going to marry him. I don't know what it is yet. I was trying to figure it out. But he has this side of him that he dresses so well. His body's like a hanger. You just pop the clothes
And
on
he has
him.
outfit changes.
I mean,
at Jen's birthday, one of the first birthday parties I went to, he had an outfit change.
At my
and
birthday.
she didn't.
And him?
Uh-huh.
That's right.
At yours.
Yes, he loves the moment. So I do love him, and he's amazing in fashion. But I dress with you. I dress for you. It's such a fun thing. It's something that we do. Bond together. Even though John is like my biggest fan, he was so excited for me to go to all these shows. He guessed that I was going to get invited to all of these shows, and I never thought that could take place. So you show up. We have this dinner. It's amazing. The people are amazing because the people that come are like really interesting,
All walks of life.
successful,
Uh-huh.
but like the top of their game in everything that they do.
And there's some incredible dressers. Like,
Yes.
people bring it.
It's so fun to watch, to see how people express who they are with their clothes.
Yeah.
This year was really fun.
Party for your eyes.
It really is. And this year was really fun because nothing we had a logo. Like we are all logoed out right now, but we didn't have anything with a logo this year.
You're right.
So then we have the show, the Louis Vuitton show, and we took a shuttle. Nobody knew where we were going. It was like this big
That's
surprise.
Right. Yeah.
And it was probably like 30 minutes somewhere in the city.
Oh, that's where we took the shuttle. The night before we took a car. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember everything. I was like hyper aware because I just wanted to experience every second. And then we get to a train station.
Train station.
And they took over this amazing train station.
Was that a working train station? Or,
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Every time we kind of go to these shows, we're like, I think we're good. Like we've experienced this. And then we get sucked into, okay, I need to do this again. This was so unexpected and special. So that night we went out with Chris. But we had an early morning because we went
We
to
had to get up
Chanel.
at, yeah.
We had to go to
Okay.
Chanel.
We got up at like 6.
I had 3 hours of sleep that night.
Yes.
And we got up and we got makeup, hair. And makeup and hair is just important for us. I mean, not everyone does it, but most people do it.
Yeah.
So Chanel, what did you think it was your first show?
It was a dream. It was a dream. It was so spectacular. And this year, because the house designed, I didn't think I would be like as blown away.
So there's no creative director right now. They're in between. There's a new one
Yes.
starting. So they have their, just so our listeners understand, when we say the house, it's the people that all the
That have worked with those
Yeah.
creative directors.
Right.
And they blew it out of the park. I thought it was spectacular. And every look that came down that runway, I could see myself in. It was
that's the problem. You can
It
see,
was
right? They're all so amazing.
incredible. The bag, everything was incredible. The
Yes.
shoes.
And it was held at the Grand Palais.
Yep.
When I walked into this place, my jaw dropped, and it's something so
But
spectacular.
the Grand Palais is a girl's dream. Like you can see yourself having a garden party there.
Yes,
It's spectacular.
it really is. And that show it's everything you would hope Chanel would be, right? And then after that, we went to a lunch. So these brands either hosted dinner before or something after, and they hosted us at Lulu.
Yeah. That was cute too.
It was so
It was
great.
a great lunch. The people were unbelievable. I left with a couple new friends.
Yes.
That was spectacular.
It was really nice because I've learned that, the fashion people, they sort of like, they come in and out of your life. Like you guys all have the same interests. So at some point you're going to connect. Like I met someone at Bergdorf's. He was a salesperson at Bergdorf's and we became friendly and I buy stuff from him. And I saw him, I was texting him when I was standing with you at the show and I was like, are you coming to the show? And I look up and he was right in front of me.
Yes.
So it was so fun. And
He was
then
wonderful.
when we went to the lunch, she was seated next to me. So that worked
Yes.
out amazing.
Yes. That was like a very intimate lunch.
Yes.
Like a very intimate lunch.
Yes.
Which was nice because you really got to have good, meaningful conversations with people.
So every show is different. Like, there's Reese's for a lot of shows, but Chanel does not do a Reese. Chanel, I think it's very cool. They just send you to like, thank you. And there's no expectation. They don't say like, hey, if you want to come back, you need to buy this, or it's just like buy what you want and just thank you for this amazing year. And it's a very generous way and a memorable way of feeling appreciated as a client.
But I want to go back to how crazy the week is. It's like you're eating cashews out of your pockets and handbag to sustain energy and hopefully getting a room service order that's like you're able to eat and then you're on to the next and then you're on to the next. And it's a lot of like makeup, lashes on, lashes off, do this, not sleeping. And you don't want to go to bed when you get home because you're so like the adrenaline and it's exciting. So when you leave, when I left there, I was like, I had a plane flight and I slept the entire 12 hours.
Yeah.
I think mine was 14. I slept the whole flight from beginning to end. I was so exhausted.
Well, I need to just say that it's not normal to go to all these shows. This was like a very, very special week. I just don't even know how that happened. But one of the fun things that happened when I was in Fashion Week, and I know I called you and your reaction was really funny. So I was there for the Dior show. And then the next day, my friend who's a stylist, I just adore him. And I was so happy to have a reunion with him for the 3rd year in a row. He said, do you want to come with me to Balmain? And I was like, yep, I'm going. I have nothing to wear, but I'll be there. So I ran. It was too soon for them to dress me because I know he was trying to have that happen, but he literally asked me at like 11 o'clock and we were leaving for the show at 6 p.m. So I ran to the store, I bought a few things to wear, and we ended up going to the show. And the client that he was with had the most exquisite custom dress made by the creative director, Olivier, and she looked phenomenal. And that was such a fun show to go because I went with his whole crew and his photographer, and he's just, everybody knows him. And it was just such a different type of show that I had ever been to and a different type of like post-party people. But I love the experience so much. And I love to see how loyal people are to the brand and how emotionally connected people are to the brand. It was something so special. And I called you and I'm like, Brittany, I just got invited to Balmain. And you're like, aren't you tired? I'm like, nope. And you're like, I would have said no. I would have sat and watched TV, ordered room service. And that's when I said to you, I'm doing this for my country. I'll do anything for my country with, regards to fashion. So that was a really special thing. So I ended up going to 5 shows. 5 shows. It was the best time of my life. I didn't sleep the entire week and I slept the entire flight back.
Can you tell us a little bit about your pajamas?
So every season, Louis Vuitton does a pajama set, like a top and a bottom.
Silk, it's silk.
Yes, silk.
That you wear out. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess some people would wear it to sleep, but it's too
Meant,
chic.
I think, more to wear out. Like, it's definitely a wearable outfit. It's like a go-to for me. It's so packable. And they just change the colors. So every season, it's like they do 1 or 2 different variations of it. And it's like one of the greatest items. Like, I would say this is something for someone to invest in.
Yes.
Because you can wear this as a suit with it open, with like a beautiful bodysuit underneath. And you can put heels with it. You can wear tennis shoes. You can wear flats. It's a great travel outfit. Like, these are truly the greatest
versatile outfits
to put on and bring
really
anywhere. Okay, what's the one piece every girl after 40 should have in her closet?
Black leather pants, a closed-toe pump, and a black blazer.
Okay, I'm on par with you. I think I would say a black bar jacket.
Definitely.
But I don't know, or something similar.
Yes.
I think a diamond necklace, because you can throw it on with sweatsuits and it looks great.
Yes, chef.
And I would say a kick-ass pair of denim.
Yes.
High-waisted, that you can wear morning till night.
And a great bag, a timeless bag. I think to invest in a timeless bag, whether it's Dior or Hermes, Chanel, those are generational. Those are things that you can give to your daughter that maybe your mother's handed down to you. Those things are just beautiful and timeless, and you can dress up and dress down.
Mm-hmm. And you can put them with anything. You could put them with a Zara outfit. You can put them with, a pair of Levi's, and it elevates any outfit.
I'll have what you're having.
I will too.
If you laughed, gasped, or immediately Googled flights to Paris, we did our job.
Don't forget to leave us a review, 5 stars only, please. And follow along for behind-the-scenes madness on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Official What She's Having.
Catch you next time, and until then, go get yourself something fabulous.